What's up, all you Outpost fans? Well, it looks like Garrett is officially under Sana's spell. A new Blackblood appears, and you wanted it, and we got it. We got a Tanzo kiss. Yay? Nay? Awkward? Maybe. Be sure not to stray too far from the Outpost because we have a lot to talk about.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Outpost After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. As always, I'm Veronica Valencia, and I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. Tonight, because I wasn't here last week, tonight we're going to do a quick recap of episode 4 regarding the matter of Garrett Spears. And guys, I was kind of able to stay away from some Twitter spoilers when this episode premiered, so let me just say I was very surprised with what I saw. Obviously, coming up later in the episode, we will be talking all about Zed, the new Blackblood that we get introduced to. We kind of learn a little bit about the mythology of the Blackbloods and the different types of clans that are out there, as well as we finally see a big change in Garrett. And is it a change for the better? I'm not really sure. And we will also do our special segment, our scene stealer segment. But before we get into any of that, some initial thoughts. As I had mentioned, this episode was very surprising for me. I stayed away from some Twitter spoilers. Obviously, I was seeing a lot about the Tanzo kiss, which when I saw that, it happened very fast, and we'll obviously go into talking about that. But this was a very big episode. I feel like this was the starting episode for Garrett's character, kind of the change that we're starting to see. And, he's such a fan favorite. He's such a loved character. And to kind of see this change come over him is very, very sad. And, it tugs on your heartstrings because here's someone who, is really struggling to understand why the people he's loved and cared about so much has just, he doesn't believe and trust them anymore. It was a very big episode for Garrett. I also, really kind of liked to see more Blackbloods being introduced. We always assumed Talon was the only one, and it was very nice to kind of see the different kinds of Blackbloods. There's Rebb, who we learn is, kind of more on the vicious, ruthless, doesn't want to be anywhere near humans. And then there's Zed, who is more of the peacemaker, who wants to live harmoniously with all humans. Overall, very good episode, very surprising episode. I actually do want to go right into Garrett's manipulation. As I had kind of mentioned in the past, I said right off the bat, Garrett's going to be brainwashed. I assumed, now this might be a little too dark for the CW, but I assumed it would be a little bit more torturous. Like, I don't know, he would be strapped to a chair, they would be beating him, and like something in his mind would kind of go haywire, and he would kind of lose a sense of who he is, and he would kind of just forget everything and kind of be living in this bubble, and they would be able to insert information into his mind as the truth, and he would just kind of go off of that. That's not what happened exactly. In some sense, you can definitely make the argument, he was being tortured physically, he was being beaten emotionally, he was being lied to, but he's still he understands himself. He still knows who he is, and he still has all of these previous memories. And it was very, very sad to see just like how calculating Sana was in being able to trick Garrett down to the penmanship of Gwynn, making him believe that she really did write that letter. She even has Dread on it, trying to feed him lies that Talon is going to be the ender of the universe, basically, and trying to feed him lies about all of these Blackbloods and the false queen, and trying to paint a picture of, the real queen, her face was a little distorted because of an injury, and so clearly Gwynn is not the real queen. And Garrett is sticking to his beliefs. He's like, I know Gwynn is real, there's no way this is true. And so finally we just kind of see him deteriorating when he really gets the letter and sees, this is real. She really doesn't need me anymore. And then this part I kind of laughed a little bit, because how convenient was it that the wall he decided to rip down coincidentally had a picture of the royal family with the picture of the queen with the face injury that Dredd had mentioned. It's suspicious because at this point, there's no believing anyone. I had briefly mentioned that there was a possibility I could believe Sana in what she was saying. Not after this episode. There's absolutely no way to believe anything coming out of her mouth. There's no way to believe anything anyone says in that building. But it's a little suspicious of how convenient, out of all the walls he chose to break down, he broke that one down, and it coincidentally was with Dredd said. Was it just a very calculated plot to get Garrett to believe them? Maybe. Is there some truth there? Maybe. We really don't know. That was an interesting little find because I kind of don't know where to go with that one or what to think. I don't believe Sana. I don't know what to think of this picture. And at the end of the episode, we see Garrett basically pledge to the three, and it is kind of heartbreaking because you don't know how Garrett will face any of those at the outpost if he were to ever see them again. And, he's finding a new love in Sana, and she's just a dirty liar, and we're like begging Garrett doesn't fall for this, but this is his story arc for right now. And it's very interesting to follow because it didn't happen the way I thought that it would. So now, guys, because it happened very soon in the episode, let's go into the Tanzo kiss. This is also just like, Tanzo is such a fan favorite. You want the best for him. You want Talon to be able to open up to someone and to just lean on someone like Tanzo, who is so kind, who is so supportive of her, who doesn't think of her as a monster as so many people have when she was growing up. And you want Tanzo just to be loved. You want to hold him, and because he's such a sweet character. And he's trying so hard to exude confidence in front of Talon of like, hey, you're confident, I could be confident too, I can get on your level. And basically there was this kiss, and I have to kind of say, bad timing, Tanzo. It was a tad awkward because in no sense of the word was it romantic. It was just Tanzo trying to take a chance, and that chance failed, and it was kind of sad and awkward to watch. But Tanzo has really done a great job throughout this first season and the beginning of the season to be stronger, to be more confident. So at the very least, there's that takeaway of, he's being more confident, he's starting to take more risks, and that's great for his character. And then Talon, she's still guarded, but you can tell that she is letting people in to some degree with how she lets Tanzo into her life, with how she compliments him. Now, a big part of this episode, too, also was Gwynn being taken hostage by Rebb. Rebb basically kind of showing she will do whatever it takes in order to get the kinge from Talon so she can summon the demon army. And this was really cool, too, because we basically learned that she is from a clan that hates humans, blames humans for all of their troubles, and if they were to ever rise and get out of the portal, they would take down all humans. They are just evil. But then we also learn that there is another clan of Blackbloods trapped in the portal that don't mind humans, and that is where Zed comes in. And, Zed basically comes in because Talon has summoned him from the portal, which even this was very difficult. Talon has struggled a lot this season so far with summoning people from the portal. She wants to because she wants to help Gwynn. She wants to summon this demon army to help her. She wants to be able to kind of take her powers into her own hands. But the first time she ever did it, out comes Rebb, and now there's this new obstacle standing in her way, and, it's completely blind. She doesn't know who she's pulling from the portal. It could be someone just like Rebb, or it could be someone who's here to help her, which is kind of who Zed was. So Tanzo and Naya were able to convince her to summon another Lakiri from the portal, and it took some convincing, but in the end, Talon knows, she has to do it one way or another because she knows she wants to help Gwynn, and even later on a larger scale, like I said, to summon a demon army. So we meet Zed, and like I said, Zed was nice. I'm really liking getting to see more Blackbloods enter the picture, and it's basically painting a better picture of kind of who they were as a race. We're seeing there was obviously the problem child clan. There was obviously like the perceived good clan. It kind of makes you wonder where Talon comes from. She's still very much a mystery. Does is she descended from a clan, that kind of always watched over the Lukiri and the Kinges of the universe? Was she, did she live in harmony and peace with humans, or did her clan specifically hate humans? It really starts to paint a better picture of who Blackbloods were and kind of where Talon falls in all of this. And so it's really awesome to see, and I'm very, she's introduced and she starts fighting Zed, and, there's this whole thing of like, should I trust you? Should I not trust you? And it's kind of hard because you could tell when Talon first met Rebb, she wanted to trust her because she was her own kind. And it was like, whoa, you're like me, like this instant connection. But obviously seeing how Rebb turned out, she wasn't going to trust Zed all that easily. Hey guys, I also just, I've been talking a lot, but I do want to give a shout out because we do have a live chat. I know the Outpost aired a little early tonight at a new time. So thank you so much for your patience and still sticking with us at our original time. In our live chat, I just want to give a quick shout out to Adam Rodriguez, who says, Talon Frenzo Janzo is heartbreaking to see. She did, and she also brother zoned him in the season 1 finale, which might even be a little bit worse because when you go brother zone, it's like, oh, there's no chance of that happening. There's always the possibility it could still happen, but she definitely friend zoned him and is making it clear that is not going to happen, at least anytime soon. And shout out to Paul Garcia, who says, I think the kiss was to show that both characters are best as friends, and these two will diverge as the series goes on. They are great friends. They're really good companions. They're really good at being able to open each other up and kind of, help each other become less guarded and work on their insecurities. They're lifting each other up in that sense. They are really good friends. And of course, maybe it's just because you want to see them both happy, because Talon has had a very rough upbringing. Janzo also has had a very rough upbringing, living with the mistress. You want to see them both happy. And because they're so good as friends, you're like, why shouldn't they be together? But right now, we're definitely just seeing their friendship. And honestly, we love it. Or at least I love it. Will they ever get together? I don't know, guys. But at the very least, we got a kiss. Maybe not the kiss we wanted, but we got a kiss. So, kind of going back to Talon going to confront. So she opened the portal, she summoned a new Lukiri, she summoned Zed, and now she's going to go help Gwynn, who is being held hostage by Rebb. And this, basically the outcome of this battle, I found very surprising, because when Talon stabbed Rebb, I was like, really? She's dead? That's kind of where we see the end of her. And I think it's because I could see Rebb going on for quite a few episodes. I could see her really posing a challenge to Talon in, trying to better understand herself and to, being able to do what she needs to do to help others. And to have her stick around, it would have been cool to kind of, dive even further into her clan and how she was brought up in comparison to, maybe Talon, or in comparison to Zed, since I think maybe Zed will be sticking around as well. So when she was killed off, I was very surprised. And I think I was always also very surprised because in the last episode, we also just had the drag man who was killed off. So like 2 people who served a really big purpose in the current timeline were kind of just gone. So I was very surprised by that. But of course, people know what they're doing on this show. There's definitely a reason for that. I was a little surprised. I wouldn't have minded if she stuck around a little bit more, but I totally understand that this was her time to go and time to kind of move on to the other obstacles in the way. So yeah, guys, overall, a really big episode. Like I said, I think this was a huge starting point for Garrett's storyline this season, and I think that, Talon is going to have to start to get more comfortable with trying to summon monsters from the portal. I know she was nervous at first, but it might be her only way to kind of help everyone at this point. So now I kind of want to go into our special segment, which is our Scene Stealer segment. And I talked a lot about Garrett this episode, so of course I am going to say Garrett was our Scene Stealer for this episode. Just kind of, you know, it was truly remarkable. Even seeing Jake just kind of, you know, when he's laying there in his hospital bed and he's breaking down over the fact that, you know, he's realizing, oh, Gwynn, the person who I loved my whole life, the person who I would die for, the person who I would protect at all costs, basically finds me disposable. That was heartbreaking. And Jake, you did a really great job with, you know, showing your emotion and being vulnerable in that moment and kind of showing us, you know, Garrett, he might be a guard, he might be tough on the outside, but he is still human, and he was still someone who loved someone who felt utterly betrayed. So it was really, really captivating to see him kind of go from one end of the spectrum of like, I fully support the queen, there is no doubt in my mind that this is my truth, to the other side of the spectrum of, oh my gosh, everything I knew was a lie. So he, in terms of character, he is my scene stealer. But in terms of like actual scene in terms of something that actually kind of like stole the whole episode, was probably the kiss. It's something we fans have been wanting for a while. I know I kind of mentioned it was awkward, because it was just kind of like, whoa, it came at you out of nowhere. But I'm sure this was something that like people sat back in their seats for and was like, oh my gosh, we finally got it. And I'm sure like this picture could be going around the internet because we are so happy that this finally happened. So yay for Garrett and yay for our Tanzo kiss scene. All right, guys, now let's go into some rapid fire predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, so I was very curious of where was Marshall Withers this entire scene. You know, he kind of left early on in the season to go find Garrett, and we haven't seen him for a while. Obviously, hoping that we'll get to see more of him in his quest to try and find Garrett. I am also thinking that Zed will be a very helpful ally for Talon, especially considering, you know, she's still very lost in who she is and, you know, what her abilities are. And so I think Zed will have a better idea of what of how to help her. And I think he'll be a very helpful ally. And I think he is someone that Talon can trust. I also think, oddly enough, Gwynn might grow closer to Tobin. He's very persistent, so I can definitely see that happening. Also, Janzo and Naya, the tension has been heating up episode after episode between these two. And I think it's only a matter of time before both of them kind of realize that they were helping, I think it's only a matter of time before they realize they want to be with each other. So we'll see where that goes. Again, you know, thank you everyone so much for tuning into the Outpost After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. I'm your host, Veronica Valencia. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at it's me, Veronica_V. Also, announcement, mark your calendars, because obviously since the Outpost has moved to airing 8 p.m. on Thursdays, the After Show will also be moving too. So we will be back next week at 9 p.m. So an hour early. So be sure to subscribe for notifications, rate us on iTunes, and that way you can join us next week. Be sure to tune in right after this, because we're going to go right into reviewing episode 5 with a very special guest. So stick around for that. Bye, guys.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.